What's up, world? Y'all already know who it is. Welcome to NeNe's Damn Podcast, where we talk about real things and we're impactful. Today, we're going to be talking about fatherhood, fraternity, and giving back. And I have one of the best attorneys in the land of Palm Beach County, Mr. Lee Cohen. But before I let him in, I'm gonna, just start off with some statistics because it is Men's Mental Health Month. And so it's only right that I start off with some statistics because a lot of men are going through mental health issues and they need somebody to talk to or they're afraid to talk about it. Men's mental health statistics: about 78% of U.S. suicides involve men. Men face higher rates of substance use and overdose deaths. Men constitute 61% of homelessness population. Men are less likely to receive mental health services, leading to untreated mental health issues. Over 6 million men suffer from depression per year, but male depression often goes undiagnosed. More than 3 million men in the U.S. have panic disorder and other phobias. And if you know anyone going through a crisis, they can call 911 or you can call or text 988, the suicide health lifeline. Also, here are some 11 tips for men to take care of their mental health. Validate your emotions, recognize the symptoms, write about it, identify your support system, make time for your friendships, identify unhealthy coping mechanisms, identify unhealthy, okay, I just said that. Embrace healthy hobbies, harness your breath, move your body, tend to your physical health, and seek professional support. So those are some tips for men's mental health. So I'm going to let Lee Cohen in. He's the best attorney. He's a Greek. He's always giving back in the community. So I'm going to let him in.
Well, hello there.
Hey, Lee, how are you? So Mr. Cohen limits his practices to representation of cases involving personal injury, wrongful death, premise liability, slip and fall, and car accidents. His background as a defense attorney provides him with valuable insight into both sides of the law, allowing him to secure the most beneficial outcomes for his clients. He believes in transparent process and includes his clients in every step of his reputation. Clients of Lee Cohen can always rest assured Lee and his associates are committed to their success and have the knowledge and experience necessary. Cohen and Newmark PLLC, the firm behind the well-known tagline, 1-800-CALL-LEE, continue to be tireless advocates for personal injury clients. Lee Cohen has been practicing law for more than 20 years and has lived in Delray Beach for 13 years. His passion is making a positive impact on those in the community who have been injured, walking with them through complicated legal process. And Lee is well known in the community. He always gives back. You see his name, the company everywhere. 1-800-CALL-LEE. And he's also an Omega man. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NeNe's Damn Podcast, Mr. Lee Cohen.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I really appreciate how you and I have spoken for a while now and discussed the opportunity and the right opportunity to come speak with you and all of your followers here. And it's a really exciting moment. So I appreciate the invite and look forward to getting to really down and dirty and a lot of very important issues that I think that the problem we run into is they aren't discussed, and especially amongst males.
Right.
We are a proud macho bunch by and large. So we don't talk about our problems. We like to flex our muscles and talk about the good things. So sometimes
Right.
we need to just accept it that there are some other issues out there we need to get to the.
That is true. That is true. And thank you for coming on the NeNe's Damn Podcast. So, Lee, tell me, how were you as a kid? Were you the one that always, did you know you were going to be a lawyer, as a kid?
No, I wanted to be an athlete like everybody else. And then I realized I was a slow, short Jewish man who was not going to be an athlete. So reality sets in at some period of time in everyone's life that it's not going to happen. You have to be big enough, fast enough, strong enough, and I don't think I was any of them. So then you start saying, okay, what am I smart enough for? And you start going in that direction. So my father told me from the very early stages in life, he was a salesman, the consummate salesman who always wished he was a lawyer and wanted to be a lawyer. So he was convinced my entire life that that's what I was going to be. And since I couldn't come up with anything better, I eventually just gave in and luckily worked out. So I'm thrilled that I was pressured into being a lawyer.
And you do such a great job at it.
Thank
You do such a great job. Look, because I'm from Broward, so I see your
So am I.
billboards.
So am I.
Oh yeah,
I'm a Coral Springs kid. I'm 954. So I'm
we
with
went
you.
through this. I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah, I
Yeah.
am too. And so I see some of your billboards down there. I'm like, wow, Lee is that guy.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it very much. I'll
He's
let
that
you say
guy.
it. Thank you.
So Lee, listen. So as a father and a community leader, how do you prioritize your mental health to ensure you're supporting those around you?
As a father, it's awareness for our
Hmm.
children, right? So we all know, every mother and father know when something's off with your kid, right?
Right.
My mother used to say to me, I could see it in your eyes, something's wrong. And we would roll our eyes then, but they were normally right. And I think that as a father, it's parent, it's really being aware and looking at your kids and talking to your kids and saying what's
Hmm.
wrong, and let's discuss it. As a mentor and community activist, I would say there's a lot of the youth in any community that don't have that person asking what's wrong,
Right.
and also don't have a comfortable avenue to share their problems. And I think that's, especially for someone younger, first of all, acknowledging that something's wrong is a big deal. Most of the time, you just deal with it, but you don't really actively realize what's wrong. And you don't trust anybody to go to with your problems. You don't want to be mocked, right? You don't want to be made fun of. You don't trust your friends. They'll take advantage. They'll see weakness. So, it's really tough. We are held down to these standards. Be a man, right?
Hmm.
Toughen up. Be a man.
Right. Right.
What does that mean? And it's really unfortunate because being a man is a very vague term to use nowadays. But I think it was a lot different back then. Back in the olden days, or back where men were tough and they didn't talk about problems, and you just toughen up and you work through it. And
Right.
unfortunately, I don't think that was the healthiest thing to happen. And I think relationships suffered, but it just, it is what it is, and it was what it was. I think now it's a matter of trying to get, especially the youth, to be able to say it's okay to have problems. You can trust me, or you can trust someone, right? Trust somebody in the community, someone, a priest, or a teacher, or a guidance counselor, someone where you can sit down and say, I am sad, or I am stressed, or I am overwhelmed, and I
Hmm.
don't know what to do, and listen to somebody who can at least be, if nothing else, the value of a sounding board is tremendous to me. Sometimes just saying things out loud, when you hear yourself say it, a lot of times you already know the answer as you're saying it. It's just
Right.
getting it off your chest and getting it out there really helps.
Hmm. That is so true. I've been hearing that rebuttal from the previous guest, and that is like literally the main thing. Just having that safe space to vent and to be safe with somebody, to feel vulnerable. And I'm seeing that more and more with younger boys, where they're like, I can't do this because I'm a man. I'm not supposed to cry. And I'm like, can we get this out of these kids' head?
And you know what's funny? We can all relate to that uncle, or that, the
Yep.
parental figure, that you meet them as they're older, and they will cry, and they will be sweeter and understanding. And then you hear people say, "Oh, you should have known him when he was younger, though. He's a lot different now, right? He is a lot different back in the day." And I think
Right.
that's maturity. And I think you get comfortable with yourself and understanding it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to be vulnerable. But I think a lot of the times that's a learned behavior. So you either learn it from someone when you're young, you learn it from an adult, or
Right.
you just learn it over time, right? Or after a while, you do see the world differently, and you do learn from life experiences. So, it is incumbent upon us, I believe, to share those experiences with the younger generation,
Hmm.
and not put it on social media, and not for the world to see, but be able to
Right.
take a deep breath and talk and feel safe in a confined space. And then when they're done talking, be done talking. Listen, be
Right.
there. And then when it's time to move on, especially with younger kids, you move on and let them move on, not bring it back and
Hmm.
hold up, hold up, hold up.
Right.
Let them talk when they want to talk. I think there's value.
Yeah. And it makes a huge impact because once you let them know, like, okay, it's okay. let it out. Now, if you want to revisit this when we come back, we'll talk about it, but we're not going to ponder on it the whole
Right.
time. So
Right.
I agree with that. So, how does your experience as an accident attorney influence your perspective on mental health, especially for men?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of components for auto accidents or just injuries. Let's just think injuries in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something happens traumatic, a car accident, a slip and fall, it's traumatic. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so not only are you dealing with the pain that you might have, but now I have stress. Now my car payments are coming up, or my car is ruined, or my car is wrecked, and I got to get it fixed, and I don't have a ride to work. How do I
Right.
get to work? The bills aren't stopping. You know, the bosses don't say, "Don't worry about it. Take your time." So you got to get to work. You got to pay your bills. There's a lot going on besides just, yeah, my neck hurts. So I think that the business component is a portion of what we do, right? How much money can we get in a settlement? What are we going to do to go to the doctors and get that treatment? But you have to understand that people are upset emotionally, sometimes irrational, and that's okay. You know, you get on the
Mm-hmm.
phone and it's something small, really, they get a letter from the insurance company and they don't understand it. And it's, why is this happening? And I don't understand. You really learn to say, I understand there's a lot going on. So let's slow things down and try to simplify the problems, right? So my
Right.
marketing concept of, we came out with our little slogan of, you focus on getting better and we'll take care of the rest. Because ideally, that's what people want to do. And it's not always that simple. I understand that
Right.
when, sometimes things are out of our hands or the attorney's hands. I would love to get your car fixed tomorrow, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately the parts might not be there, or the insurance company didn't sign off on it, or so, there's certain things that are going to be out of our control, but
Mm-hmm.
we can at least be there to try to explain that to you. And let's come up with a solution if we can. Let's get you a ride somewhere else. Do we have any? Can we get you into the rental faster? Can we help get the insurance company to pay for your Ubers to go back and forth? So, we really want to look at, which kind of translates into life of, what are your biggest stresses? Let's try to eliminate the small ones, right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things we stress out over that really aren't that big of a deal. I remember reading a song. There was a song that came out recently, and I was looking over the lyrics, and we had discussed it and saying, your stress is only your stress until you have a bigger stress, right? Once you have that bigger stress, that other one goes, "Oh, I wish that was my only stress. That was no big. I can't believe I was losing sleep over that. Now I have a real stress, right? Now health jumps in and all those other things don't matter."
Right.
So, let's try to work out what's a real stress. What can we control? What
Mm-hmm.
can we really help you do? And if it's out of our control, we just have to learn to be a little patient and deal with it, unfortunately. But I think that translates into life outside of this is certain things we can control in life and certain things we can't. So let's stress out of those things we can control and fix, not the things that we can't control.
Right. I like that. Thank you for that. This question, I didn't send you this. So, how did you come up with 1-800?
So I'll tell you the true story behind it without sounding too creative was I was in Tampa years ago, and there was a big billboard and it just said accident 1-800 ask Gary. And I thought, that's just brilliant. There was nothing else there, just the phone number. And
Okay.
I thought, wow, how simple is that? Right? We can come up with the tagline, the law firms, all the phrases, except you have this long to look on a billboard. So how do I get you to remember me when you're driving by that billboard? Like,
Mhm.
so that was the challenge. And I remember coming back. If I can tell you, I dialed every single possible phone number that had Lee in it and hurt or injured or whatever I could come up with. And finally, that one worked. So that was the only one that was available. So it was
Wow.
and it's that simple of a concept. If I can get you to remember 1-800 call Lee, now you not only remember, hopefully, that if I get in an accident, I remember that tagline,
Right.
that phrase, but you also know how to contact me. So now you don't have to Google, oh, it's Lee Cohen, attorney Lee Cohen. Great. And now you have to Google Lee Cohen and find my
Right.
phone
What's his
number.
number again? What
Now
is
you,
his
now
number?
you just know it's the same thing. So if it's the simplest of concepts I can come up with and realize just from driving by a billboard in Tampa thinking that guy has a really good idea. So it's okay. I'm not afraid. Imitation is the biggest form of flattery, and I compliment him on that brilliant idea.
I love it. It's catchy. I'm like, whenever I see 1-800 call Lee, I'm like, oh, I know him. I know that guy.
Well, that's the goal. That's the goal. And it's always been coupled with me, meaning I want people to feel like it's a person. It's not a huge, it's not a corporation. It's not a,
Right.
take a number. It's not a, you jump in line type of thing. I know law firms out there saying we're the biggest and we're the great. I don't know. People really always want that. I think sometimes in life people want to feel like they can get on the phone and have my cell phone, and shoot me a
Right.
text and say, hey, what's up with my case? Or, hey, can I give you a quick call? I have a quick question. Most client questions are really simple. People just want to
Mm-hmm.
know a quick answer. It's not an overwhelming period of time. So I think when you can communicate with someone, when you can find them, track them down, and actually talk to the lawyer or talk to the decision maker, I think that's
Right.
important to get things done. I think people value.
That's true. That is so true. I like that. So, your fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, has a strong commitment to community service. How do you think this impacts men's mental health in the community?
I think it gets people out there. I think that ideally, and I see this with my brothers all the time, is when you're in the community and you're doing something good for the community, it feels good, right? I mean, you feel good about yourself when you do a good deed, when you're helping, when you're talking. And not only that, I think when you're any organization that does things together, I think the biggest bond, you can put a name on it and you can put a fraternity name, whatever it might be, but the strength is really, our fraternity is based on friendship. And I think that's a very difficult thing to just say, let's be friends, right? Or because we both joined this group, we are now friends. It doesn't really work that way. So,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's shared experiences, it's shared challenges, create bonds and create friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe when we go out and do good for the community, it really strengthens that. We go out there once a month and we do a street cleanup right by Pompey Park in Delray Beach. And let me tell you, when the alarm goes off on a Saturday and we're out there at 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, and you're picking up garbage on the side street, you could look at that in one of two ways. One is there's no way I'm doing that. That sounds like torture, which it
Right.
is in reality. I mean, when people go to jail and prison, they let them out and they got to do community service. They're picking up garbage on the side of the road, right? But we have a
Mm-hmm.
great time. As silly as it sounds, we get out there early. We all joke. Everyone's joking around. Everyone's having fun, giving each other a hard time. We do some good in the community together. We clean it up, get our pictures of the bags we help clean up. But at the same time, that feel good moment and that giving back to the community also creates the bond. And I think that's important. That creates the friendship that we talk about and that's on paper, but in reality, it applies. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that the more you go out there, I think whenever you go to a charity event and you're helping out or any good deed that you're helping out, when you see other people there doing it, you just kind of have that bond, right? You give each other that smile and the nod. And maybe when I saw you at the event, it's we might never have spoken before, but when you're
Mm-hmm.
standing there and you're all there for the good deed and the good bond, you feel good and you're in a good mood and you say hi to people maybe you haven't before and you get to know them. So it does create this better opportunity and mental health goes with it, right? You go home at the end of the day and you feel like you did something good today. You are in a
Mm-hmm.
better mood. You aren't alone anymore. You aren't sitting there and being miserable. You go out there and you feel good. And then people who need help, ultimately, I think when they see people out there going out of their way to help you, they feel good about themselves and feel
Right.
they're not alone and they're seen. And I think just the value of being seen is important. So, mental health, I think it all kind of falls together in that big circle.
Mm-hmm.
But it all starts with relationships. It starts with friendship. It starts with community and giving back. And so I think it all plays into the big picture and ultimately helps everybody feel better about themselves. Or we hope that's the goal.
Okay. So, what is your line name? Because everybody has like crazy line names. What is your
My
line
line
name, Lee?
name is Slick with it. Yeah, they thought the bros thought I was slick when I was on there giving my first couple of meetings. So I'm slick with it. They could have gone in a lot of other directions. So I'm okay with it. I was okay with that. I'm a very easy target in Omega Psi Phi fraternity. So I usually tell people I'm a unicorn when they get to meet me because it's a lot of fun when I travel around and go to conclave and go to, all these other meetings we have. We have a lot of fun, but the brothers have all been overwhelmingly, open armed when it comes to welcoming me and being a part of it. So it's a fun experience that not many people will ever get to experience again.
I like that. So what or who, inspired you to become a Omega man?
So first of all, I always thought it was the coolest fraternity there was. I went to Florida State when I was in college, and
Okay.
I was a monster football fan, like everybody who goes to Florida State. Back in the day, all of the star players just happened to be Q Dogs, right? Omega Men. So they would throw up the hooks every time they scored a touchdown. As a fan, you would say, "I want to do that," but you learn quickly not to. And then so you always knew that was the fraternity in my world of the cool fraternity. Really started when I started my law firm here 15 years ago in Delray Beach. We opened up here, and we really started by grassroots by getting involved in the community.
Hmm.
And I didn't have manpower. It was me answering the phone and doing everything in my little office.
Hmm.
And we had, I'll never forget, a Father's Day event that was coming up. I talked with a couple of guys from the city, and I wanted to sponsor this father son event for Father's Day. And a couple of the guys were Omegas and said, we'd love to do something as well. So maybe we can partner up. So, my law firm was a sponsor. They really came together with the manpower to go out there and make a big difference there. This partnership in the community really kind of brought us together. And then over the years, the relationship started, and there are brothers, Jamel Stewart, who I've known for, since day one. And, I could tell you a list of the brothers that I'd met over time just from these events. And I used to joke around saying, one day I'm going to throw up the hooks with you guys and I'm going to be a Q. And it was kind of that running joke for probably a decade. And then
Really?
eventually I realized that the Divine Nine actually has graduate chapters. So I didn't know what
Hmm.
that meant. Didn't even know what graduate chapters, what they meant in general. But I kept saying, hey, I'm here. Keep me in mind if there's an opportunity. It was
Right.
honestly a running joke, never thinking that that was even a possibility or was going to happen. Somehow, after all of these years of, we realized all of our, I think our goals, our beliefs aligned. And I decided, hey, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring and try. I had zero expectation of getting a yes, and I would not have been insulted if I didn't. I understood it was by and large, a black fraternity and a black Greek system, and I am clearly not black, so I would have not have been. I'm self-aware and would have accepted it, but it worked out, and I'm so thankful that it did because it has just given me such an incredible experience. So I'm
Mm.
thrilled to be part of it and being able to share it with.
I like that. I love the name Slick with it.
Slick with it. That's correct. Slick with it.
So is
Yeah,
that
I
with
don't know
it
if it
with
was a
a
compliment or not, but I remember the brothers laughing when I gave some answer. There was some question they were asking, and everyone had that laugh going, "Uh oh, he's slick. We know it."
okay. So when you spell with it, is it WIT or
I
WITH?
prefer not to spell it normally, but yes, it's WIT. I guess I'm usually called it more than spelling it, but yes, I'm guessing it would be slick with it with a T. Yes,
Okay.
that's just
I
call. You can
love
just call
it.
me Lee. That's even better.
Nope, you don't. You let the secret out. So now
That's
I'm gonna
right.
be like, "Hey,
Hey,
Slick, what's up?"
it is what it is. I can't deny it. It is what it is.
Oh man, that was a good one. Okay, so coffee and cream event is coming up, and I see
Yes,
you're giving away a small business grant.
we are.
Let's
We
talk
are.
about let's talk
Yeah.
about
So
that one.
so I talked to Rohan. I've been partnering with him for many years with his events, and he always does an incredible job.
Hmm.
We talk about sponsorships. To me, obviously I get hit up daily to sponsor events, and that's great, and I appreciate it. But I try to make sponsorships practical. I try to make it where it really makes more sense. Here's a couple of dollars and put my name at the bottom of the sheet.
Right.
It doesn't really do much. I don't believe that it changes much. It's more of a feel good type thing. But
Mhm.
I always prefer to feel like you're making a difference somehow. I like
Mhm.
to see if a school asks me to donate. Years ago, I'll give you an example. Carver Middle School said we need, can you donate something? And I said, sure. They asked for money, and I said, no, I'm not. Just, I don't want to just give you a check. What do you need? What do you guys need? And they needed for their program at the time these little magnifying glasses that you would put to your iPhone, so you could literally use them as magnifying glasses. So I said, great, let's buy a bunch of those. And we bought a ton of those and gave them to the science department because it was practical. They're going to use it. The kids are going to use it. So
Mhm.
you like to know where your money is going, and it's going to a good
Right.
cause. So to me, just putting my name on an event, and Rohan knows this, it's always a question of where are we going to put your name? And I feel like that's a great opportunity. I think there's a lot of small businesses out there that have great ideas, have great concepts. A little money
Right.
would really go a long way for a simple, what if I can help get a laptop, right? I mean, that's a game changer if you can't afford one and you have a business. But we want
Right.
certain things to happen. I want, and I told Rohan, it's important for all of these small businesses to do it the right way. Get a tax ID now, right? Go get registered with the state now. Don't wait. And the
Mhm.
reason is because now it's a lot more stressful when you wait, right? Now you wait, you're 4 years later, now you're getting a tax ID and they say, well, when did you start? Oh, I started 4 years ago. Great. Let's go
Right.
back and do your taxes for the last 4 years that you didn't pay them, right? So all of these things become a lot more complicated. I think a
Mhm.
lot of times people don't know what to do. I also
Right.
don't think that's very complicated. I think it's a matter of a little bit of research or a phone call or two, and I'm happy to help out. You literally
Mhm.
can go online to sunbiz.org. You can register your company right there. And it takes you
Mhm.
15 minutes. You have a company. You go online. You get a tax ID for another 15 minutes. 30 minutes to an hour. You are 100% set up the right way with the tax ID,
Mhm.
with everything. Now you can go get a bank account through your company. Why
Right.
is that important? I tell people with charities, get a tax ID. 501c3 might be difficult, but figure something out. Why?
Right.
Because if you ask Lee Cohen to donate to your charity, and I say, okay, my law firm is happy to do it. We're going to go ahead and cut you a check. Where do we write the check to? Oh, just cut it to me, John Smith. No, like we're not comfortable doing that. I don't want to just cut you
Right.
a personal check to your name. I don't know where it's going. Now I'm going to have to charge you taxes at the end of the year. I'm going to have to send you personally a W. My accountant's not going to accept it, so they're going to tell me. But if you say to me, I'm John Smith Charitable Enterprises or whatever it might be, now
Right.
it's a company. Now you have a tax ID. Now I know it's legit. There's value in all of these things and doing it the right way. But to me, if you don't set it up the right way at the beginning, first of all, you're not being serious, either with yourself or with the government or anyone else. But don't cut corners at the beginning because then you're in trouble. So that's why a
Mhm.
business grant makes sense. That's it all boils back to why a business grant. I want to give money to a true business that could use it, that's doing it the right way, that's trying to succeed. And if I could benefit them by giving them a grant, I think it would go a far way.
Nice. And so how do they have to register to be a
You
part of
go, I
the
think it's right on the Eventbrite or whatever it is that Rohan set up. The
Mhm.
clock is ticking. I know it's now Wednesday and the event is
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
So, so hurry up. If you haven't done it yet, hurry
Oh,
up.
I already did mine.
Yeah, find the link, get going on it because it's Friday, so it's going to be a great event. I know it's going to be a great event because they always are. I find that
Mhm.
in general these events that Rohan throws always end up being good people, good times. Certain hosts, I hate the word promoter. I think they're more like hosts.
Mhm.
I think certain hosts get it. I think they understand the value of the experience,
Yeah.
not just a cash grab. I think those work once. And then the next time everyone's kind of onto you at that stage. I think
Right.
that the hosts that want to do this year after year and event after event, they understand the value of the experience for people who show up, that if they have a good time, they'll come back. And so
Mhm.
that's why we always want to make sure. And I have a very small amount of people that I work with for that reason. Hey, when I put my name on something, it's really important that it's a professional, good event. I never want to be associated with something where you shake your head at the end of the day and say that was embarrassing or that how did I get sucked into that? Because
Right.
My name is all I have. So 100 call Lee is all I got. So it's important for me to try to associate with the right groups and the right people.
And you do such a great job. Like whenever I see 1-800 call Lee and it's sponsored, I'm like, oh, this is a good event.
Thank you.
We can stay the whole time. It's okay.
Thank you. I
It's okay.
appreciate it. And I'm usually there. My number one question is, when is it? Because I always want to be there. Just putting my sign. If I can't be there for whatever reason, I get it. But my goal is always to at least come by the event and say hi and
Right.
see everybody there. That's and making sure that everybody's having a good time, because that's all I care about. Is ideally I like to have a good time with everybody, but I want to make sure at least everyone else is having a good time while they're.
Yeah. And you're well known in the community. I love whenever I see your face, even if it's from a distance, I'm like, oh, there's Lee. There's Lee.
We've been at
He's
it a
here,
long
guys.
time. Oh, it's a long-term relationship. I'm
Mm-hmm.
15 years. I opened up my firm in 2010 in Delray around Swinton. Been here
Mm-hmm.
around Atlantic Avenue ever since, and it's a long-term relationship, right? I mean, it's people come and go, unfortunately, and sometimes fortunately. But if people move or leave or health issues, whatever it might be. But
Right.
ideally, you don't want the community to stop doing
Mm-hmm.
good things. You don't want positive momentum to be stopped, because somebody has to leave town or whatever it might be. So, you want to try what we can to build long-term relationships. So that way we
Mm-hmm.
can make sure that, it's not just this group now, but it's the next generation, right? You want the next generation to come in and reap the benefits of what we're doing now, and have a better Delray or a better South Palm Beach and Boynton, because we do a ton in Boynton and Lantana and Lake Worth. So it's not just a Delray thing. It's, I always try to say it's a South County thing for my law firm. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
we've always focused on, is the strength in South County, because there's nothing, and there's so many other neighborhoods that we jump in and do everything we can to try to make it a better life and a better experience for everybody.
I like that. Thank you for that. So let's get into some rapid fire questions. These
Let's
are the
do it.
fun questions. Okay. So if we're doing karaoke, what song are we going to do?
You want the two of us, Ebony and Ivory, because it's just too perfect. I mean, come on, that's a phenomenal song to sing together, especially on karaoke. That's a fun one. What am I going to do?
Oh, so I'm just going to sing?
Well, if we're going together, we're going Ebony and Ivory. Yes. Well, you said we, not me. You said we. We is different.
Yes.
Now, if you said, what am I going to sing?
Now, what are
I
you going to sing if it's just you?
probably, I've done this before many times. The winner that I have is normally Baby Got Back or Ice Ice.
Can I get a sample of Baby Got Back?
Little in the middle, but you got much back. Like I'm round and big, but I'm doing. That's enough. But yeah, that's usually one where you don't have to be a good singer. You just have to bring energy. So that's the goal on that thing. Is I don't want to have to try to use my singing talent. I just need to bring energy. There's not much talent there.
He's so funny. Okay. What's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Right now in my life, it is as tacky as it sounds. I sit on my couch with my kids and we play Mario Kart. So back in the day,
That's
I used to have a
cool.
nice stiff cocktail, but now I play Mario Kart with my kids. So times have changed, I guess.
It's okay. I understand. I understand. What's the most rewarding part of being a father?
I think watching their successes, and I think there's that moment of time where you sit back and you watch them interacting with somebody else, and you think to yourself, I did it. I did all right. And I've been really proud of my kids, but watching them know the right things to do, watching them want to give back, genuinely, what I believe are genuinely good kids, I think is the most rewarding. I think it's, there's a lot of other challenges, but if I can create good kids and good members of society, I think we've done all right.
Nice. So, what is something that you want people to take away from this interview?
Well, first of all, thank you. I think that I would be a fun guest at every karaoke party. So that's
Of
the most
course.
important thing. You know what? When it comes to the main topic here, right? The main topic is mental health.
Mm-hmm.
What I really want to take away is just listen. Be aware. When you're interacting with people that you care about, people that you know, it's okay to ask how you doing, right? How are you? Is something bothering you? And forget the whole generic, hey, what's up? How are you doing? Good. It's, are you okay? I can see you don't seem yourself today, right? I could tell something's off. and be
Right.
willing to sit and listen. And once they give you the answer, don't go, "Oh, I got to get out of here. I'm sorry," but be willing to listen and actually genuinely care, because people go through things, and people have real issues, and they get worse. As you don't talk about it, they get worse. So I think the most important thing is really to just be aware and see where you can help somebody else. Because if you could just make a little bit of a difference, it goes a long way.
Right. It does. It does. And then how can people contact you? Well, of course, 1-800.
You can call anytime. You can call me at my office. I, I'm always I'm always here to help. That doesn't mean financially. So I get a lot of those. Hey, nope, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm here to genuinely help if I can. If you ever need anything, I have tons of friends out there. You can get my cell phone, call me, text me, whatever you need in general. I'm here to help in any way that I can. So don't hesitate. 1-800-CALL is the easy phone number.
And it actually works. It actually works, ladies and gentlemen. So am I going to see you on Friday? Because I'm doing the brown carpet interviews.
I will be there Friday, God willing, and I'll be there to have some fun. So I
Do
will
you
hopefully
have
be
a
able to
brown
swing by your
suit?
interview, and I'm invited.
You are.
Thank
You
you.
are.
Thank you. And I
Do you have
appreciate
your
it.
brown suit?
No, I'm actually really stressed out about that. So I have to figure
Lee.
something out immediately. I know. I've been putting this decision off this whole I'm not great I don't like costume parties. I don't, as simple as this sounds, it's overwhelming to me to have to go shopping because I hate shopping. So I have some really good friends that I usually call under these circumstances.
Mhm.
Jamel, I know Ricky Petty, for those who know Ricky Petty, but
Oh,
I have
yeah.
some
Oh,
really
yeah.
good friends and fraternity bros that I call and say help. So that's what I'm going to do, because my wardrobe is not very cool, but I can usually get somebody to at least donate to my cause.
I can't wait to see what you have on
Oh,
Friday. I
don't even
can't.
ask. Don't even ask. It's embarrassing.
Well, Lee, thank you so much for joining NeNe's Damn podcast. I appreciate you. Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And thank you for being on the show.
I
I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
You're awesome, and thank you to everybody who watched, and thanks for bringing all the awareness. It's awesome that you do that. It means a lot. So, thank you, thank you, thank you, and to the bros. Here's
I
to the
love it. I
bros.
love it. I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It has been real on NeNe's Damn Podcast. Once again, if you know anybody that's suffering with mental health issues, they can call either 911, or they can call or text the 988 number, the suicide life crisis line. And it has been real. Friday, come on out to Coffee and Cream. You still have time to register for the small business grant. You need your
Hurry up.
EIN number. You need your some biz number.
Yep. Tax
What
ID.
else? Tax ID,
Yep.
and just verification that your business is real. So come on out. Thank you again, Lee. 1
I'll see
800
you
call Lee.
Friday. Thank you.
Everybody be blessed, be amazing, be great. See you later.
Bye. Thanks again.
Bye. And